Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's going to be reviewing the Jeep Wrangler High Tide edition. First and foremost though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Dodge Ram Jeep Chrysler here in Provo, Utah for giving me some time with this Wrangler. This particular one is still available for the time being, so if you're interested, I'll include a link to their inventory in the description down below. If you have any questions, you need any help, just ask for Josh. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Powering this is a naturally aspirated 3.6 liter V6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 19 around town and then 24 on the highway, with power outputs being 285 horsepower and then 260 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we go over the front end, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the hood, you can see it's very, very orange, but you have those that actually contain the windshield washers, and you can also lower down the windshield onto them. And then notice the High Tide decal here on the side. Now I've got the LED lights here with this Wrangler, and then notice how the grille is body painted. And then you guys can see just have the regular bumper, no steel bumper or anything like that, but it still has fog lights. And putting it all together, this is really cool looking from a front end perspective again, especially with the orange, it pops. Now this right here is a big part of the High Tide package. We've got 35s wrapped around 17-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear. You guys can see the wheels are bead lock capable. This is the tire and wheel setup from the Extreme Recon package. So because it has the tires and wheels, it also has the little fender flare extensions, which are pretty interesting looking. And then you guys can see the badges have actually been blacked out, which is pretty cool. Rock rail here on the side as well. And then again, you got the fender flare extension there on the rear. And then taking a look at the full side profile here, you can see with the 35s, this thing just has such a cool stance. It is lifted, by the way, just like the Extreme Recon. Now here's our key fob. We have our unlock function, our lock function, remote start, and then you got the little flip out key, as well as the Jeep logo there on the back. And of course, we've got Jeep's normal hatch, so you've got a little JL thing right there, which is pretty cool. And then opening this up, you guys can see pretty easy. And so I'll talk about this box in a second, but this box is very important because this comes with every single High Tide Wrangler. It's kind of another big feature, literally big feature, because it takes up the entire storage space. But by the way, if you ever need to fit a box this big in a Wrangler, fold down the seats and you can do it. But notice with the roll cage how that's painted in orange, which is pretty sweet. And then I just want to quickly check, I'm pretty sure this has, yeah, it's got the Alpine sound system as well. Anyways, just plop, and then you can pop that into place. Now you can see that we also have a spare 35 here on the back as well. And then look at how we have the reinforced holder for this, just like on the Extreme Recon. And then you guys can see the recovery hook. And then by the way, with the Extreme Recon and the High Tide, you've got just the regular Mopar shocks. And wrapping things up, I think this just looks so sweet, especially with this orange. Let me know what you think about the color and then also the package. Well, normally this is where I do the transition clip. We go over the door panel here with the netting and all that, and then I show you guys the room in the back, but obviously we got the box in the way, so that's not gonna happen today. But I've been in the back of a million Wranglers. It's got a decent amount of space, tons of headroom. It's legroom that's not necessarily the biggest, but I mean, that's the price you pay for cool off-roadiness. Now taking a look at the front door panel here, you guys can see the same padding, and then look at the netting down below. All of our mirror adjustments here, and then notice the mirrors are heated as well. And then here are the front seats, just cloth here with the front seats. You've got all of your manual adjustments right here with the seat as well. And then we got like our light control here, and then the steering wheel is manually adjustable. So taking a look at the steering wheel itself, you guys can see the padding all around, and then look at the darker stitching on the center portion. Radio controls here on the back with our cruise control, controls for center stack, voice command, phone controls as well. Got our turn signal stock, and then we have our windshield wiper stock on top of that. Now here's the center gauge cluster. It's the normal JL gauge cluster, so we can like scroll through here to see different bits of info on systems within the car. And we still have the off-road status, which is really important as well. Now with this, we just have the regular backup camera. You guys can see the trajectory lines do turn with the steering wheel, and resolution is solid. Now as for the rest of the infotainment system, we've got a shortcut bar here at the bottom. Response time's great. Notice we have heated seats and a heated steering wheel, so that's all good. We've got the off-road pages on top of that. Now, of course, we got the Jeep circular vents, but notice how the dash is actually gray, which I think is pretty cool. Of course, we got the Wrangler grab handle right there, but I think that looks a lot better than the red in the Rubicon. Now, down below, we've got our analog controls for the climate system. So dual zone in this, again, you've got your heated seat controls, heated steering wheel, all that fun stuff, your off-road cruise control, stability control, auto stop start, and then notice the little charging area, and then all the window controls in the center. And then we have our shifter here for the drive line select. Get your 2-wheel high, 4-wheel auto, neutral, 4-wheel low, and then your 4-wheel high part time. And then you guys can see here with the shifter for the 8-speed automatic. And then some cup holder action here, and then you can see with the center console, and then I forgot to show the glove box, but normal Wrangler glove box. And then finally up top, you guys can see you've got all these latches to take off the first portion, which is really easy to do. And then with the back, you do have to use tools. So here's our window sticker for the High Tide Wrangler. You guys can see base MSRP is $35,000 because this is built off of a Sport, not a Rubicon or anything like that. The High Tide package though is $12,000 on top of the base Sport, but it adds quite a bit. So you've got obviously the Extreme Recon part of it. Also have a Gorilla Glass with it as well. Now the big box in the back, that is the Sunrider for the hard top. So basically it's a different type of top that you can add well, it's in the box that you can put on this, which is supposed to be easier to remove for the beach and everything compared to the regular hard top and everything. So it's pretty cool setup. And then you guys can see all of the other options on this one. Total MSRP $60,505. Let's see how it drives. Let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's visibility of the hood, both of the mirrors, and throughout the rest of the rear. And, well, let's set off. And I feel like this Sunrider top, I mean, it's different than the soft top, but still, it's like just another convertible top for the Wrangler. It's like, they gotta have a million tops, right? But let's talk about how this High Tide edition drives. So first off, the air pressure is a little bit higher than what I would have with 35s. It's in the 40s. I usually like to have 35s, at least with, because I have an Extreme Recon Wrangler. High 30s with the air pressure, just driving around town. I think that's usually best. But regardless, drives just like the Extreme Recon pretty much. I mean, the 35s feel good in the Wrangler. I feel like the Wrangler should just come with 35 standard. I know I'm gonna upset people because people are gonna be like, no, we don't need 35s, all that kind of stuff. But it's like, hey, it looks good. Like, this is how the Wrangler should look. Maybe not standard, maybe 33 standard, and then 35s should be the option that is easy to get. I mean, I wouldn't call it quick by any means, but I mean, again, it's a Wrangler. It's kind of to be expected, right? But I mean, this can move this V6 can move the 35s, that's for sure. Just don't, I guess just don't think you're gonna be in a rocket ship anytime soon. If you want a crazy fast Wrangler, then you gotta go for the 392. But obviously, good luck getting one of those. Those are super hard to find now. But summing things up with this, what is this for? Like, what would you use this for? And actually, I wanna go over a couple of these dips to see the, yeah, pretty good. Well, what Jeep is kind of advertised this as is like a beach vehicle, right? This is the Wrangler you take, that's why it has bigger tires so you can drive through the sand, and that's why you have the special tops so you can take the top down and drive on the beach and all that kind of stuff. And you know, you could use that for that, but here's the deal. The Wrangler comes stock with solid front and rear axles, which means that the Wrangler is really good at articulating from the factory. And look at this, at least in two-wheel drive, this thing's got a good turning radius. Like, look at that. It's pretty solid. So like, this thing without lockers is still amazingly capable off-road. So like, if you can't find an Extreme Recon Rubicon, right? This is a great alternative. No, it won't be as capable because it won't have the lockers, it won't have the sway bar disconnect. But I mean, you can get under and you can disconnect the sway bar yourself. It's just manually, right? Versus. But anyways, the point that I'm trying to make here is, yeah, it's like this special edition, and you know, for most people, if the offering that they do, this is more than capable. Like, this is more than enough capability. Like, I've taken my Wrangler off-road a bunch of times and I haven't had to use the lockers, and I've done some pretty difficult terrain, not like insane Moab type terrain, but like it can handle it. So let me know what you guys think about this High Tide edition, and let me know if you'd get this or if you get a Rubicon Extreme Recon. Remember, with today's pricing, a Rubicon Extreme Recon is probably going to be about $10,000 more expensive than this.